All right, so the Jets destroyed the Patriots. We do have some fantasy takeaways from this game, so we're going to dive into that right now. Do me a huge favor, drop a like if you're part of the late night degenerate club, and make sure you're subscribed if you haven't as well. We're going to talk about all the fantasy takeaways from this game tonight. Let's start with the team that actually scored points tonight, and let's start with the Jets. Rodgers, and this is good for Garrett Wilson, I'm going to say that. Rodgers looked really good tonight against a Patriots defense and a Patriots secondary that's really not bad. And so when you're talking about the impacts that could have from a fantasy perspective, it affects two people the most. Number one, Garrett Wilson, who you saw wouldn't have had that touchdown last season, the season before, because he's not had a quarterback able to make that throw. Okay? So Garrett Wilson, huge benefit tonight. And obviously 14.5 points for Garrett Wilson. You want to see more than 33 yards. You want to see a little bit more than 5 receptions probably. But he does get the touchdown, and so his floor is going to be a little bit higher now. The other guy it directly is going to help is Breece Hall, because now the Jets actually have a dynamic passing game. I mean, how many third downs did they convert through the air tonight? So Breece Hall, who was already elite, right? Starts the season with 18, 24, and 18 points. So if you drafted Breece Hall in the first round, you're feeling pretty freaking good about that. 16 carries for 54 yards, a touchdown, and then 4 receptions for 29 yards. And this is all while Braylon Allen is getting on the field not only, but is able to kind of get his own production here. I mean, you saw Braylon with 10 points tonight. Last game, after obviously last game having 20 points, and I think a lot of people kind of just expected Braylon Allen to show up after that big game and just, have an average game to follow it. And really what you see from Braylon Allen tonight, 11 carries, 55 yards, 3 receptions for 13 yards. I mean, Braylon Allen is going to be a feature piece of their offense. When you're looking at how they split the carries, 16 to 11. I mean, it's a 60-40 split in terms of carries. And he only had 1 less reception than Breece. And so if you have Braylon Allen, I don't think he's a bad play for when you have bye weeks or injuries or things like that, right? I mean, I think Braylon Allen, if you picked him off of waivers this week, you're probably feeling pretty good about that rest of the season. Again, in a New York Jets offense that I think looks considerably better, that I think projects pretty well for the rest of the year as well. Now, obviously, the other guy to catch a touchdown tonight was Allen Lazard. And Lazard's a little bit interesting, right? Because he only had 3 catches, but had more yards than Garrett Wilson and also had that touchdown, right? I think there's no doubt that Garrett Wilson is the wide receiver 1 in New York. The thing is, as long as Rodgers is around, he's going to use his guy. And his guy, Allen Lazard is not, a world beater by any means, but he's also not a pushover. And so in terms of these guys, I don't think they're going to affect each other. But it is interesting when you see Lazard get the touchdown, especially on a play like he did with the yak and things like that. So Mike Williams actually made an appearance tonight, had 3 catches for 34 yards. So long time no see from that guy. I think his days of extreme fantasy relevance are over. One of the bigger takeaways from this game, in my opinion, was Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin, it seemed like he was kind of everywhere, but he had 93 yards. He had a lot of yak tonight. It felt like in key moments, you had Rodgers going to Conklin a lot. Conklin, obviously, in his history in the NFL, hasn't really done anything. I mean, tied in 18 and 16 in the last couple of years. But, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And Conklin over his first couple of games here, 1.2 points and then 14 points. So he was targeted a lot tonight. We're going to have to see if he can keep it up. With that being said, the New York Jets, guys outside of Breece Hall produced tonight for the New York Jets. Another running back and 2 wide receivers. That team, I think if you got pieces of that Jets offense, you're feeling pretty good about it. All right, let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the Pats. So, as you can see, Jacoby had not even 100 yards tonight. And the biggest story, I think, on the Pats side of things tonight is going to be Ramondre. And you see that name over Ramondre right there. It says Mason Dodd. And I love to see that, honestly. But 6 carries tonight for 23 yards, and he lost a fumble. He almost had negative points. He had 0.3 points on the night. And so this is after Ramondre had a really good game 1, a game 2 salvaged by a touchdown, and then in game 3 it all came apart. Now, granted, this is a pretty good Jets defense. So am I totally freaking out about Ramondre? I'm not. I don't think you sell Ramondre after this week. However, Yeah, starting Ramondre this week, which he wasn't a terrible start because running backs had actually done decent against the Jets in the first couple weeks. You started Ramondre tonight, he really, really freaking hurt your team. So we'll see how that situation unfolds kind of next week and the week after with Ramondre and see if that really affects his stock for the rest of the season. Demario Douglas had 15 points tonight. He had 7 catches for 69 yards, which is nice. And also, there were a lot of people, and this is still possible. There's a lot of people that thought Polk was the guaranteed wide receiver one there. And really, before Polk was drafted, it was pretty clear that Demario Douglas, after what he showcased last year, was going to be somebody that was going to be a threat in his first couple games here. Obviously, he didn't do anything until tonight. He had zeros in week 2. In week 3, in week 1, he only had 3 targets. So it's good to see Demario Douglas. I mean, he's a good talent, and nobody else on this team did anything. So Demario Douglas is the one guy who actually was fantasy productive, and nobody's rostering him, right? Rostered in 14% of leagues, started in 1% of leagues. So it doesn't even matter. This is your classic AFC East matchup. Thursday Night Football, primetime matchup. Now, the Jets, again, they're a little bit more fun to watch. Offensively, they're a little bit better, but in terms of actual takeaways, Garrett Wilson can score touchdowns now. Heck yeah. Braylon Allen might be fantasy relevant. Aaron Rodgers looks good still. And you're always going to have Allen Lazard. So, still a fairly entertaining game in my opinion. I think, I've seen better games than that, but we have a couple super chats over here we'll answer. Man of Cole, appreciate it, man. 2 Dynasty questions. 1, QJ or Dortch for my second flex spot? I would go QJ. In a full PPR league. 2, I have Kittle, no backup tight end. Do I pick up Freiermuth for Bigsby, McMillan, Downs, or Wright? I mean, you can pick him up for Wright, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it would be Wright for me. So I don't think Wright's going to get involved very much this year. Good question. Appreciate you. Jared, what's up, man? Kyron or Jordan Mason plus a player? It depends on the plus, man. Like, Kyron and Jordan Mason are separated by a good amount. From a value standpoint, from a rest of season projection standpoint, but you could take any of these guys and, add it to Jordan Mason and immediately make this fair. So it's just going to depend on the plus. Obviously, Kyron is projects better than Jordan Mason rest of the season. The other thing about Jordan Mason, like, you got to be careful when you're buying him because, he's not guaranteed to start for the rest of the season. So appreciate you, Jared. Should I trade Alvin Kamara and T. Higgins for A.J. Brown and Josh Jacobs? I'd have CD, A.J. Brown, and DK in a 12-team full PPR, and Jacobs would be my running back 1. I'm honestly okay with this. I think especially okay with this if you're like 2-0. But it sucks because Kamara's off to a really hot start. I have Kamara rest of the season ranked higher than Jacobs. However, A.J. Brown significantly higher than T. Higgins still, obviously. So I think if you're 2-0 and you can afford to get by a couple weeks with, not having A.J. Brown, you obviously have CD and DK in there, then yeah, I'm okay with it. But again, let's make sure you got a pretty good record there. I think it's a pretty good deal in my opinion. So, all right. Late night degenerates, what's up? Hunter Henry in the 4th. I don't know. I mean, Hunter Henry honestly didn't really do anything tonight. Where was he in the rest of the game? He only had 2 receptions, 3 targets for 9 yards. So, I mean, honestly, I saw Hooper. I mean, Hooper got more targets tonight. So, Eric, appreciate you, man. I chatted last night about the Brian Thomas trade. It was Brian Thomas and Benson and acquire Amari and Braylon Allen. I'd love for you to expound on your thoughts for or against. Braylon is freaking me out. So I know Braylon is freaking a lot of people out. I had a guy messaging me in one of my Dynasty leagues trying to trade for him during the game. And of course, from a Dynasty perspective, I'm like, yeah, I want to leverage the frick out of you right now. But look, I mean, Benson and Braylon, I guess, is an upgrade. I mean, especially after seeing what he did tonight, I think you're comfortable with Braylon Allen. BTJ to Amari really rest the season. Let's just look at our rankings here, because I think it's a downgrade, but I'm not sure it's that big of a downgrade. Now, rest of season, we've got Brian Robinson at Bryant Thomas at 33. I don't know why I said Brian Thompson. 33, and Amari Cooper at 36. Look, Eric, if it's going to make you feel a lot better having Braylon, I'm fine. But again, it's not like you're going to be starting both of those guys. And so that's kind of why I was like, Benson's going to be on your bench. Braylon Allen's going to be on your bench. He's good insurance. But again, like, do you want to pay 5 spots the rest of the season for an insurance policy? I'm okay with the trade either way. If you really want to make that trade, you go ahead and do it. But I don't feel a need to do it. I feel like BTJ has a higher upside than Amari does this year. But it is a buy low on Amari if you do believe in him long term. So, like I said, I won't argue really strongly against it or really strongly for it. It's kind of like, make it if you want to. I don't think it's going to hurt you by any means. So, appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping in. Ron Scott, appreciate you, man. I traded Kamara and Flowers for Ball and Ayuk. Did I make a mistake now that he shares his snaps? I'm assuming you're talking about, you mean Hall there, I'm assuming. And yeah, it doesn't matter that he shares his snaps, right? I mean, we saw him last night, we saw him tonight. He had 19 points. Like, it's not going to matter for Breece because the main thing that you needed to see is when they got down in the red zone and when they got down on the goal line, who did they give the carry to? They gave it to Breece. And so, I think you won that trade because I would take Breece over Kamara still by a nose hair, and I would take Ayuk over Flowers by a little bit. So I don't think you made a mistake. I think you still won that trade. So, yeah. I don't know. You guys aren't worried about Breece, right? I would not be worried about Breece. Again, he's gonna get the touchdowns. He's gonna get the valuable touches. I'm not worried about Breece Hall at all. Thanks for nothing, Hunter Henry. Yeah, Hunter Henry, man. I think we had him ranked as a top 12 tight end this week. We did. We had him ranked at 11 this week. Yeah, it was, again, tough matchup for them, but yeah, he didn't really do anything. So I don't agree that he lost his season. Yeah, you sucks giving up Kamara, but AJ Brown healthy is a top 5 wide receiver. So Garrett Wilson got that touchdown. I know 9 targets looks good. Just a matter of time for more downfield targets come. The ball's getting spread around so much, and that's the beauty of Rodgers, and that's what Rodgers is going to do. But yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson's going to have games like this where it's pretty conservative, and I think he's going to have games where he scores 25, 30 points. So I think tonight was a step in the right direction for Garrett Wilson because of how good Aaron Rodgers looked. Aaron Rodgers was slinging it, man. I will say the offensive line injury might hurt them, but I think he walked off the field. Like I said, it doesn't matter. He could still have torn his ACL, but nothing from May. Yeah, 4 of 8, 22 yards, 2 carries and 12 yards. I mean, he almost threw a pick when he came in. Like, no, not really. It was garbage time anyways. I would want to see him in a non-garbage time situation to actually make any assumptions. If Breece and Allen do that together, it saves wear and tear, looks better for them both. Bingo, and every team's doing this now, right? So, most teams. So, I'm not worried about it at all. All right. I'll answer a couple questions here. If you guys have any questions you want to answer, I can prioritize super chats for a minute, but mainly just wanted to talk about the game. So I feel like a clown for playing Ramondre. Don't. Everybody did. Tight end position is getting old quick. You bet. My opponent had Ramondre. Congratulations, my friend. Nathan starting Ramondre in Silver League is tough. It is, but at least you didn't trade Mason for him. I'm so glad Mason is stuck with Ramondre right now. Alex, appreciate you, man. Is Downs the wide receiver one with Pittman's production? No, it's always going to be Pitty. Trying to sell Minshew, Lloyd in a second for Baker. To get a deal done, what would you add? Love DD. Appreciate you, man. DD's coming back soon, too. We're just waiting to actually have stuff to talk about. Minshew, Lloyd in a second for Baker's fine. In terms of Downs, no, he's not the wide receiver one. It's always going to be Pittman there. Even when Alec Pierce is out producing, and Pittman is the wide receiver one from a schematic standpoint and from a target standpoint as well. And I think you'll see that kind of play out here soon. So, good question, though. Tej Wang, what's up, man? Should I send Waddle, Najee, and Swift and DJ Moore for injured wide receivers? I'm 2-0. So here's the thing, though. You'd be selling low on Waddle, you'd be selling low on Najee, you'd be selling low on Swift, and you'd be selling low on DJM. So unless you're selling at a good price, I don't think so. The injured wide receiver I would go after is probably Cooper Kupp or A.J. Brown. I feel like both of those guys are going to be back within a couple weeks. Kupp didn't go on IR. A.J. Brown's not on IR. So you can try it, but I just feel like nobody's going to give you what you deserve for those guys. So appreciate it, man. Shark Bite, what's up, man? Dynasty 12 team Superflex PPR start 9. Someone's offering me JMO to 25 first for Laporta. Is it a smash accept? This is tough because JMO is one of the biggest risers in Dynasty, so we really don't know where his value has settled. He is currently the wide receiver 25, and at 25 first for Laporta, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. You are buying high on JMO and you're selling low on Laporta, so keep that in mind. Because of that, you might be able to flip JMO and get some value, but you are betting essentially that JMO is going to continue to do this. So there is some risk involved with this deal. From a value standpoint, I think it's even though. So I don't think it's a smash, but I think it's even. Yeah, Mason's going to be pissed, dude. Mason's going to be pissed about Ramondre. And again, Mason's whole plan was to grab Ramondre in that deal, which, by the way, Danny won, which is hilarious. Nico for Waddle and Ramondre looks like a steal now, which is insane. Mason's whole plan was to flip him to one of Nathan and I. And so ruining that plan and making him sit with Ramondre, that water is going to find its level in that league, and he's going to start losing, which will be fun. So I need you guys, dude. I think Mason has told all of his dudes, like all the people that watch his show, to like go over there and comment like Mason's handsome or something like that, which is the dumbest thing of all time. I need y'all to go over there when a video drops and like rip off some domain support so we make Mason's crowd look like idiots. But don't say I'm handsome. That's stupid. So Theo says smash. Theo plays a lot of Dynasty. So I mean, Laporta, the Dynasty tight end 3 who rose 10 touchdowns to the moon. Man, waffle. Richard, appreciate it, man. 2-0 and a 10-man. What do I do with Kupp? I have Hurts, Cook, Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Olave, Kupp, Ingram. I would just hold. I would sit still because you've got Jefferson and Olave to pull you through in a 10-man. You're already 2-0. You can afford to just sit tight and then hold for the upside that could be league winning from Cooper Kupp. So if I were you, I would just hold. But it's a good question. Appreciate it, man. Jackson, should I trade Jalen Waddle, and if so, for who? I honestly am not trading Jalen Waddle right now. If I am going to trade him, I want one of like a Godwin, Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams. Otherwise, you're just selling low, and I don't really want to sell low. I don't like selling low. So it's a good question. I just don't want to. I'm assuming it is a tight end premium league. I assumed that when he asked the question. So if it's not a tight end premium league, yeah, take JMO, but most people are playing in tight end premium leagues. All right. You also have Ayuk and Devontae. Yeah, no, I think I'd hold right now, unless you can get one of those guys. So, but good question. Pittman or Dunze rest of the season? I'm still going Pittman. He's the one. So, Bijan or Brees rest of the season? Same tier. They're both in the S tier, right? So, I'm good with either or both. So, cool. Is it worth dropping Chase Brown for Jennings? Have 8 running backs. Sure, that's fine. Kamara and a 26-second for Godwin and Pollard. I'll take Godwin and Pollard there. I like Godwin in Dynasty right now, so. Devontae Adams for Josh Jacobs. I'll see who I have ranked higher. I think I have. Let me sort this by my rankings. There we go. I have Adams ranked behind Jacobs, so I take Jacobs. So I would still take Derrick Henry the rest of the season by a little bit. I have Henry at 13 and Connor at 17. Connor, I need to move James Conner up, honestly. I need to adjust my rankings there. So, all right. I'll answer another one real quick. Ayuk and JK for Olave and a first. Yeah, no, I'm taking that deal easily. That's not even close. And if you have the running back, yeah, just do it. That's a good value win. So, all right, y'all. Appreciate you. Got the game recap in. We'll be back live tomorrow night at 5 p.m. so you guys can jump in and your questions, come in and ask them then. We'll answer as many of them as we can. But for now, we're going to call it. Fun little game tonight. Glad Garrett Wilson got a touchdown. It's good to see that. So appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.